Welcome back to the Precision Trader. Just wanted to go over a quick book map for today, September 13th. See what value we could have got from this, the leading indicator of having an order book. So with that said, we're going to start with Netflix. We always like to get a look at the pre-market. That we're going to start in the pre-market here. But of course, the other thing that we always want to keep in context is the overall market. Okay, you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight the overall market or the overall trend. You know, ultimately the overall market is the overall trend. So you always want to, try to work along with that as best as possible, because 3 out of 4 stocks are gonna, they're gonna move. They're gonna move with the overall market. Now, granted, you may have one of those 1 of 4. You might be playing one of those 1 of 4 stocks or big caps that are showing relative strength against it. But more times than not, like I said, you're going to fall into the category that's going with the flow. So with that said, look at Netflix here. The pre-market, we did see a bias to the upside, with definitely a little bit of overhead resistance in the 605, 606 range. And then it looks like some decent buyers at 600. So let's see what happens at the open. Well, what happens at the open? What's the overall market doing? Well, the overall market is falling through the floor, and that's why we talked about in our pre-market prep this morning. Let me show you that. The server we talked about. Thought I had it pulled up here. So yeah, look for a retest of the 21 MA, and that's exactly where we got in the pre-market. Another key point here for the morning was to keep in mind, if it broke below, if we start dropping below the 21 MA at the open, look for 440 to 443 on the SPY today, which would have correlated with our 50 MA and just above our lower trend, ascending trend line. So that's what we've seen there. As far as plays, it's some nice scalping at the open. So yeah, here are a couple of plays for the pre-market we were looking at, but again, it was contingent on SPY holding and SPY pushing for these bullish pre-market plays, which we did not get a bullish S&P today at all. So back to the chart. All right, we see at the open, we see Netflix comes up here right up under the VWAP. Sellers come in the book at 600, making that overhead resistance there that they would have a lot of sellers to absorb. And again, SPY's falling through the floor at this time. Anyway, so what are we looking for? We're looking for a fall down to the next major level of support or liquidity. And we see that here. Tried to got us a little bit of bounce, held in this 590 range for a little while, but it then finally broke through it. And where is it heading once it breaks through this liquidity here? Well, from our previous videos, I hope you had a chance to go through those and get that education. But we know that it's heading to the next major level of liquidity, in this case 585, and comes down. Is able to pop it back up just a little bit, and then and again, like I said, all through this time, SPY was showing weakness throughout the day. We did have a pop, I think a couple hours into the day, but with that said, came down, finally broke through it, had a little bit of buyers come back in here at 583. This is actually around the time SPY started popping, and pushes all the way back up to 588. Rejection at sellers, pushes it all the way back down to some buyers that came in the book at 584, 585 back in the book. Pushed it up a little bit, a couple bucks. Ended up pushing all the way up to 588, 588-ish. Again, SPY is rebounding at this time, pushing up. So ends up pushing all the way back up to the VWAP into these sellers right here at 590. And they proceed to knock it all the way back down. Knock it all the way back down to 585. Jumps on top of this this liquidity here at 585, 586. Again, when I see this, I can see it comes down here, and then I see another level of liquidity ready to support it above the liquidity that it just tested. That's always a very good sign that we're going to be, you're going to get at least in the large caps another nice little pop up. So that's what we did. Popped all the way back up to the VWAP. And then, I don't know why we were on the 50-cent increments there. But yep, from there, chopping around in the middle of the day. Finally, later in the day, SPY starts breaking down again. Knocks it all the way back down to 585. And then from there, sideways. So, again, these large caps, a lot of these large caps are highly affected by the S&P. That's why I always have my SPY charts. And I'll tell you what, while this is loading. Okay, got it. All right, so let's go. It was the same principle at Tesla today. You know, looked like it was ready. That it did have the liquidity to push. As we can see there, 550, 555 looked great in the book. 542 was jam-packed with a lot of sellers right there, so that was gonna be a tough level. And then really nothing to catch it until 535 if it broke away from 741. So what happens at the open? Well, same thing as Netflix and the rest of the overall market. Started falling through the floor. All right, got our dollar increments. So same thing. Keep in mind with these, these liquidity, when you're heading down like this liquidity levels, I mean, you can get a trapdoor situation where it just falls through it hard. Whereas when we're pushing up, a lot of times, you'll get a little bit more hesitation when you get to these big levels. But when you're on the downside, you can, a lot of stop losses sitting at these levels. Yeah, a whole lot. Whereas, when the stock's trending up, people are more, they're more confident. Whereas when it's heading down like this, they'll start loading the book with stop losses. So see here, it pushes through. Yeah. When I see it pierce through a liquidity like that, that's always a good sign for more downside. Yeah, you don't get, whereas like take for instance down here, comes down, pops off of it. That's usually a good signal that you're gonna at least get a nice little scalp bounce out of it. So with that said, piercing through liquidity, finally gets down here to 720, pops up all the way to 726. But sellers came back in the book at the 726 to knock it all the way back down. Where it is knocking them back down, back to the 720 liquidity, pierces through it. Buyers come back in again at 718, try to push it back up, which they do, $2 or $3. But again, not enough to support it. Finally bust through that. Where is it heading? 715. And again, what do we have? The same thing that happened up here. Piercing, again, these 1 minute candles, a piercing candle straight through it, trapdoor situation, and ends up pushing it all the way down to 708, 709, and then finally, market finally starts bouncing. What do we get here? And then a nice support candle. That's because again, with Tesla, I mean, it's hard to keep Tesla down, especially when it's fallen this much. What are we, we started the day at 740. Again, I've talked about it before. You get about a $30 move on Tesla. That's, yeah, $30 move to up or $30 move down. You can usually start right in that area. You start looking for a big bounce. I've seen it countless times. So in this case, this would have been right at about a $30 move down. And sure enough, yeah, they got support here. I got a nice, I played a nice bounce in this area. And yeah, it was just, yeah, up from there. We see it pushes all the way back up to 718, finds support on this 716 liquidity. See, it comes down there. That's another great sign. Comes down, nice wick off of it. And support. Where are we heading? Well, at a minimum, the VWAP 725 got there, and then get on top of the VWAP. Well, where are we heading now? Well, yep, 725 is guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed at that point. And anyway, so finally pushes up there. I was actually, because SPY was still very weak, I was actually shorting into these pops. We had multiple strong pops going into the day. Yeah, so this one I shorted into this one because again SPY was still weak. This was another one here, popped really hard right here into this liquidity. I was ready to take a nice short scalp off of that. And then finally pushes back up to the liquidity up here and gets support on it. Support, heading to the next level, pierces through it. It's always a good sign. Pierce through, support, good sign that we're heading to the next major level. And at this time, around this time, SPY, we found a rejection spot on SPY. Talked about it in the server, and because we expected more downside on SPY, and sure enough, it started dragging the market down with it. So, but we had nice buyers come in here to support it, support. Nice bullish candle. It's always a great sign that you're heading north after all these nice support candles here. So sure enough, it did. Ended up making its way all the way back to, what is it? I think it finished higher on the, God, wasn't that pretty after the market felt like it did? But that's the power of Tesla and trading it with an order book, man. You can, when you got here 60, this ended up being $60 to $70 worth of movement in Tesla today. So yeah, it doesn't take a lot to be able to capture a little bit of that. So that's why, of course, Tesla is my favorite stock to trade. But would not recommend most people touch it with a 10-foot stick unless you have something like an order book to be able to look what's going on behind the scenes. So with that said, going to shut it down from there. Hope that was helpful to you. Just keep in mind, like I said, you want to keep the overall market. I know we mentioned a second ago, but just want to show you, take for instance, like our SPY chart here. We see that, we had been expecting this. We have been looking for this ever since this candle right here. Once we got that, we started also to this momentum indicator right here. Great indicator. You get three lines in a row right here. Always a good sign that there's going to be some follow through. And we got one right here on this candle. And if you look at previous candles where we got three in a row here, three in a row here, got a little bit of follow through down through there, but yeah, so that's a good indicator. And also too on this one, when we hit this 97 level, that's when we always start looking for a top to be within the next 1 to 4 days. Got a nice signal on that one right in this area right here. And then also to this momentum indicator, as long as we're above this line right here, we're uptrending, trending market. Of course, when we break below this line, or reach this line right here, that's a good time to take profit. And yeah, so all three of those indicators gave us a nice signal. And then our trend lines, this is why our pre-market prep, we talked about 443, and we see SPY came within 20 cents, 19 cents, somewhere in there of 443. So yep, so 70 cents away from our trend line. So yeah, so that's what we were looking for. We were looking for the bounce at this trend line or the 50 MA, and we got it. So yeah, if we get a nice tomorrow, if we get a nice bullish candle that engulfs this candle right here, today's candle, yeah, this pretty much we're looking for this down move to be over with and making our final leg up. Yeah, we'll be shooting for 460, 465 as our final leg of this before our likely tapering announcements in October or November. So yeah, just be ready to play the market to the upside for the rest of the week. Yeah, because as long as which right now we're still in downtrending mode. But with that said, once we get that nice piercing candle, bullish engulfing candle, we'll be looking, and you can see from history that's what we've had here. So came down every time we got to this trend line or the 50. Once we get this nice following day with a big bullish candle, I mean, it's just been to the upside. See, big bullish candle, upside. Big bullish candle, upside. Big bullish candle, upside. So that's so that'll be pretty powerful if we tomorrow we see a nice bullish candle come up here. I will need to see us capture 450 again and get on top of that, because at this point, we have a couple key moving averages that we'll be working through. So with that said, that'll finish up today's video. Tired. Sorry for sounding a little tired. Just getting past my bedtime. So with that said, I hope this video helped you. If you'd like more insight and direction, help throughout the day with the order book and the market, feel free to come check us out in the server. We'd love to have you, and may the market be with you.